Hello again. I'm making another little video and today it's about measuring the squish clearance of a 100cc reed valve engine. The squish dimension is absolutely critical to make sure that the piston doesn't hit the head, and in this case it's a new piston, and anyway, I'll go ahead and show you how I measure the squish clearance to make sure that we don't have any engine failures due to a squish related problem. So I put some grease on the top of the cylinder, on top of the piston, sorry. And in this case, I just 4 little dollops on top of the piston like this. Then I cut some little pieces of solder. The solder I use is 1.2 millimeters in diameter, because we're chasing a dimension of around about 0.75 to 0.8. This gives us a good amount of a crush. So 4 little pieces about 25 mil long. Sit them on top of the piston like this. Now the reason I'm putting forward and backwards is the gudgeon pin is across the engine like this, and of course if you don't measure directly above the gudgeon you won't get an accurate dimension measurement. So now that I've got 4 pieces sitting on top of there, I've already got the nuts and washers sitting inside the cylinder head, so we can go ahead and assemble the engine. It's very important that it's all torqued down correctly. So it's a little bit of messing around to do it properly, but I believe that this is the best way. I'm not a big fan of just putting some solder down the spark plug hole and hoping for the best. It's been inconsistent and not totally accurate. It's okay for a spot check to do it that way, but if you're setting things up after replacing a piston, it's important to torque things down correctly. I set this gauge at a torque wrench at 165 inch-pounds. So now that we've got our engine assembled, the 4 pieces of solder in there, I'm just going to wind the engine over, just gently, and I'm going to keep winding until I forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, until I can feel no more resistance on the crank. So I know that I've compressed the solder to the smaller size that it can be. So if we take the cylinder head off again, now we can go ahead and measure these. So I like to use a vernier caliper, check the zero. The left side, so what's happened now is there's a small little compression on the piece of solder there. That's the bit we're measuring. So we want to go in and measure that smallest diameter, smallest section in there. So that's measuring 0.72. So place that there. So this side here, we have to measure the same, and that's measuring 0.74. So the one at the back, same thing, we've got to measure the smallest section of where it's got crushed to. So that's 0.75. And this one, that's also 0.75. So that's that engine's got enough cylinder head clearance. 0.72 on this side was about the minimum that we'd ever run. We'd never let it get any less than that. Quite hard to measure, so have a few goes at it. So yeah, it's about 0.72. Yeah, it's a little bit tight. So I'll consider whether I'm going to change that or not. But that's the most accurate way to do it. And if you need to make an adjustment, make it either with a base gasket or a head gasket, or machining the head, whichever you choose. But that's how I measure the squish.